to Rich Check Podcast. This is episode 10.
10.
Double digits.
Double digits.
Yeah, we're getting up there.
It's getting real.
Yeah.
We got a special guest with us today, a good friend of the Rich Check Pod crew, Nick Milo.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, man.
Glad to have you, my man.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Good to be here.
Yeah, man, it's good to have you. So this is going to be, this is a new episode for us. We're doing a sort of a watch collectors episode, feature, if you will. Nick is someone whom the three of us know fairly well, neighborhood friend, and an avid watch collector. But before we get deeper into that, wrist check. Rashawn, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, man.
What are you rocking with today?
This piece is very special to me. This is an Elgin from the 50s. One of the few pieces that I acquired when I started collecting vintage watches. What I love about it so much is the thin profile. And of course, you guys know I love a small case, 34 millimeter case with the spider lugs, which makes it very interesting. And of course, during like the 50s, 60s era, you know, the Art Deco and like the design of like working with shapes on dials was a thing. So like us coming from that design and appreciation part of watchmaking, this spoke so much to me. So
and is that an automatic move or a manual one?
it's manual one.
Manual one. Yeah, it's got it's a slim case.
I was gonna say it's so sick.
Gotta be.
Yeah,
It's thin. Very thin.
super thin. It's so comfortable. It's like I'm not even wearing it.
Sure.
Sometimes I even forget that I have it on.
What kind of strap you got on there?
Just like a plain black strap. I actually want to change it out. I don't know what to, but
Red.
There we
red never fails. But the black to me is just like super clean. You know, serves all purposes.
And is this like a sunburst style? I can't see for you. Is it cream or?
It's like a cream dial.
Yeah. Is it matte or?
It's matte.
Okay.
It's starting to age and patina a little bit.
Tight. So it's got some color to it.
It's got a little bit of color to it.
Dope.
It's my favorite.
Respect. Nick, what'd you bring us today? What's on the wrist?
So I've got the new Rolex Explorer 1 36 millimeter.
Okay.
Our friend Ben will probably be laughing a little bit because I
will now.
shit talk this watch so
Sure.
hard. I was like, wanted the 39, was set on the 39.
Yeah.
I love this watch. No date. Love the dial. Love the 369. I only have one 36 in the collection, and just thought, you know, I want it to be 39 and up. But I put this on my wrist
It wears well.
and fell in love with it. It's,
That's the Rolex effect.
you know, yeah.
That is a
for
Rolex
sure.
effect.
For sure.
You hate on something, you put the watch on your wrist, and you're like, damn.
Oh man, tell me about
Actually,
it.
Yeah.
And you know, my wrist is a 6 3/4.
Yeah.
But I'm also not a big guy. So, yeah, I don't think it's too small at all. I think it's just the perfect size for what it is. It's supposed to be kind of an understated.
I think it wears
Simple
it
fall
wears
back
really
watch.
well on your wrist. We actually have our wrist sizes are about the same, and I
Yeah.
think one of the cool things with me and you is that a variety of different sizes actually wears fairly well on us. And so we
Yeah,
have a little
for
bit of
sure.
a range going from like a 34 all the way up to like a 40
Or 42.
or even a
Which is
42,
like
which we'll get into today.
Kinda sick.
Yeah, it is.
At least there's some like.
Well, you
there's
have
some
more
wiggle room.
optionality, yeah, which I think is really cool. But that thing looks great, man.
But I love this watch. I took it. You know, I also like this because I took this with me to Italy over the summer.
Yeah, how was that?
I did put it on a NATO strap because I was like, let me make this a little less sort of blingy. Not that it's blingy at all, but
Sure.
just let me tone it down. I don't think a single person knew whether it was a Timex or Rolex. And if they did, I never once felt like, you know, should I have brought this? I feel a little like maybe I should have just brought in.
The cool thing is though too, like the Explorer, especially at that case size, actually wears really nice on a NATO.
Yeah, it wears great.
Yeah.
I have a couple dope double RL straps, NATO straps that I really like on it.
Tight,
Cool colors, army green and khaki. But yeah, I'm happy with this.
Dope.
Love it.
It's fresh.
Thanks.
I'm wearing one of my favorite watches today. This is the bronze Tudor Blackbay 58. Which is funny that we have you here and I'm wearing this. And I didn't even think about this today, but you bear a lot of responsibility for me actually getting this watch. So kudos to you.
Hell yeah. Makes me smile.
But it's I wore this on an episode further back, and since then it's just patinaed more. I love this thing. This thing is great. There's not much more I can say about it. That's just what it is, and it just gets better and better each day.
How many times have you cleaned it?
I haven't cleaned it at all. Not once yet. Yeah, no. I'm just letting it do its thing. I mean, not that I wouldn't, maybe one day, but I don't feel the need to do it right now. I'm just gonna let it rock.
Nice.
What are you rocking with, Ben? What you got for us?
I'm wearing something we all know that I love, which is the vintage Omega, but I got a new strap on it.
Respect. What
I had to retire the Oris at least for today. So it's a Hirsch strap.
Okay.
But it's genuine padded gator.
Nice.
And it's circular scales, which I prefer to square because the square scales don't really give enough texture for me.
Yeah.
So I put it on this strap, and it's like this, like, it's brown, but not really. It's like a burnt orange almost, and it's really, really good with the gold case. So I was convinced to wear this today solely because of the strap.
No, that thing looks great, man.
Yeah, it looks
The case is fire.
Yeah, it's 34 millimeter, like we were just saying.
And you're going back
range.
Yeah, the case size, especially with that strap, is dope. I love what you're doing with the high and lows. You're rocking the Stone Island today. Man's fresh. Respect.
We got 3 of us with small millimeters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I almost prefer it.
I think this
that,
one's a
40?
39.
Oh, that's 39. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not too far.
So we got 4 under 40.
Yeah, there we go. 4 under 40. That's the name of the episode.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
So getting right to it, I consider you a watch collector. Do you consider yourself that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Do you consider yourself a watch collector or a Rolex collector? Where are you at mentally with that right now? Because you got a lot of pieces.
Yeah, I would say that I kind of fall into that category of like, Rolex is kind of that historical like milestone watch. You just got a promotion. You just graduated from college. You just closed a big deal. Something just happened in your life that you want to celebrate. And if you didn't already have any knowledge into watches, but you wanted a nice watch, you would probably say, well, I'm going to get a Rolex.
Definitely.
And that was just kind of like my dad's thing. My dad has a couple Rolexes, loves the brand.
And so that was your introduction to the brand, obviously, right?
Yeah, and I think for just kind of how I dress, my lifestyle, just kind of being active, wanting to beat stuff up, not wanting to worry about being overly precious with what I have. I do like Patek a lot. There's one that I have my eye on that I would really like, the 5212, the weekly calendar.
Yeah, the Calatrava.
The Calatrava stainless steel case. I'm not too sure if AP really does anything for me.
Sure.
There are some Omegas that I like.
You got to get Speedy at some point.
Yeah. I was close to kind of pulling the trigger on the Tudor Chrono.
Nice. Yeah. We talked about that.
But I just kind of felt like every time I looked at it, I would just wish it was a Daytona.
Sure.
So I was like the white dial.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And I also saw it on the bunch strap.
It's not bad.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I do love Rolex.
Yeah.
And it also seems to be in this day and age of watch buying, the only thing that I can buy because I have, thankfully, a relationship with somebody that sells Rolex watches.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. What's the oldest piece we have here? We've got a number of pieces. Most of them are Rolex, but I'm curious, what's the elder statesman in this group right here?
That would be the Datejust on Jubilee with the fluted bezel.
This is the oldest watch.
That was
in the whole crew.
Yes,
wow.
That is my first ever, like luxury watch, nice watch. That was a gift from my parents in 2002 for high school graduation.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, it was a little. it was one of those things where it was like.
And this is stainless steel.
Stainless steel.
Yeah.
Bezel's white gold, right?
Yeah.
Bezel is white gold.
And I love it. I like. I didn't wear it for quite a while because it was sort of like, it was this funny gift where my dad like was a lot smarter than I was, which is probably why he's a dad and I'm the son, where he was like, trust me, you're going to love this later on. But like
at the time, it wasn't really clicking.
Yeah. And I kind of don't want you to bring it to college and you probably shouldn't be like, just, doing whatever you're doing in San Francisco.
Dad knows what college life is like. He's like, let's leave it.
He said,
put it someplace safe.
My parents didn't go to college, but they definitely had some sort of an idea of like,
sure,
yeah, we'll keep this at home. And then, I moved to New York about 11 years ago, and that's really when I really started heavily wearing it.
Smart move, mom and dad.
Yeah, I was thankful for them. That was
it's a beautiful piece. Yeah, it's got this. The dial is awesome. Yeah. It's like a sunburst dial.
Yeah.
Roman numeral hour markers. You've got the date.
Band's a little stretched at this point, but
that's to be expected, though.
That's to be expected. And you know what?
Bracelet.
I mean, like,
it makes it more comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna have a stretch band, I mean, on like a Jubilee bracelet, it doesn't look bad, my man. This looks good. This thing looks like it got some love. It's
also kind of a vibe that, like, I mean, you could wear that with like a tuxedo.
Yeah.
You could wear that to get married.
Yeah.
Or you could. And I could wear that with what I'm wearing right now. And
the only Rolex you should be wearing if you're getting married is a date just or a day.
You feel that way?
Yeah.
Why?
Don't get married in Samaritan. You're corny.
I mean, I agree with you on that.
I would don't do it. That'd be a kind of. Yeah. I agree.
You could do an OP.
Yeah, it's time only.
Sure.
I get that.
All
but
right.
no sports models if you're
what about
in
a
wedding. Yeah, sure.
Yo,
that's not a sports model.
Yes, very classy.
That's not a sports
I'm not
model.
mad at that at all. He's what, a 36 millimeter?
Yes.
Yeah. So at what point did you transition into, just exploring like larger case sizes?
So I bought some other watches in between then, but definitely on the fun side, I had some other gifts from my parents that were like Hamilton's, Longines. But the GMT was the first one that kind of had that maxi case. Harder edges, chunkier case.
Batman GMT here.
I mean, that was my first modern day. That's what kind of I would say started my whole addiction or problem.
That's the one that gave you the book.
That started not why I'm friends with you guys, but why I'm sitting on the couch.
Sure. This thing is very hot right now too in the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like everyone is after these right now.
Yeah, the Batgirl's on fire.
Batgirl is on fire.
And I do. I kind of thought about maybe trying to get an oyster bracelet because just to see what that might be. But I kind of like having. I have more watches at this point on an oyster bracelet than I do on the Jubilee, and I think that's kind of.
I think it looks great on the Jubilee.
I like it better on the Jubilee.
And the original GMT was on Jubilee, right?
Yeah.
For Pan Am, they wore Jubilees.
Absolutely.
So I originally wanted a No Date Sub. That was, I moved to Italy like 4 years ago from New York, and just realized, wow, I've got all this extra cash laying around from not living in New York City.
Sure.
And
put it to good use.
Yeah, and I
make some investment purchases.
I had moved to Italy for a career change and kind of all this really good life stuff, and had no idea that this watch market is what it is today.
Sure.
And thought I could just, accomplish some goals, kind of what I talked about earlier, why you would buy a Rolex. It was like accomplish some goals, really manifested some stuff that I wanted. I was proud of myself. And so I was like, you know what? I would love a Submariner. And then everyone was like, yeah, so do another 5,000 people. And I was like, really? I can't just buy this thing. Yeah. And then I went crazy when somebody tells me no. I am like, watch me get a yes.
Sure. Yeah. I feel that.
And so I called I was calling everywhere in the EU.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow, this really is nuts. You cannot buy these.
What year is this?
2019. 2018.
2018. Seems like ages ago, but it's really not that long ago.
For sure. Yeah, I'm on COVID.
Exactly.
There's one long continuous year.
Like an hourglass.
What I
That's
love,
like 5 years.
What I love here that I'm looking at is you've got a really great collection of Rolexes, and then further to the left, we have like this swatch.
Yeah.
With this huge X on it.
Yeah.
What's the story with this guy?
That was like, so I believe that Swatch made that, and correct me if I'm wrong. I know all you guys know a lot about Swatch, but I think that was a Malcolm X watch.
Do you know about this one?
In honor to him, or some sort of homage.
That's kind of dope. If
From
it
what I know
is.
about the X watches, it's supposed to represent like straight edge lifestyle for most people.
Yeah, and so that was, and that's one of the reasons I bought it, because living in San Francisco and growing up, I was working at punk rock record labels, very heavily, worked at a radio station, had my own radio show every Friday on campus.
Oh, I didn't know
so
that.
that's why I bought that watch.
Yeah.
Was because that was like, even though I'm not vegan or straight edge,
That
I
was the
love
scene,
Minor Threat. I love Black Flag. I love H2O. I love all these bands that identify with what that watch.
And this case size
represents.
looks like it's like a 39 or a 40. It's pretty wide.
It's pretty big. The original one, this is a reproduction that I bought in like 2017. And then the original ones are kind of like some of the chronos, like the chrono you have, where they're like quite
they sell
pricey.
for an insane amount.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different variations too of the original
This thing
one.
is fire.
Yeah. So I bought that just because
It's a beautiful piece.
I thought it was cool, and growing up, it like spoke to the music side. I collected back in the day vintage Vespas and Lambrettas, Italian scooters. I was very much like sort of this like mod punk rock
Sure.
kid.
That's the cool thing about, and I think, depending on what circles you're in, there's not enough. I feel like that's not spoken about enough, but we talk about this thing a lot, right? Where it's like, regardless whether or not you're collecting Rolexes or G-Shocks, Timex, etc., all of these pieces kind of represent, if not milestones, sort of place markers in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's cool to like look at your collection and like kind of go through these memories.
Totally.
And that's what's so great about knowing you and then looking at what we have in front of us.
And also the GMT, I only have that because of my dad.
Explain
Which is
that.
also a cool thing, because after calling all these stores,
Yep.
also with regard to the Swatch, anybody in the comments, if I'm wrong, which I probably am, about the originality of that watch,
They'll fix it.
let us know. I'd love, educate me.
Sure.
But so I started calling all these shops, and no one had a sub. No one would sell it to me. And so I called my dad, and I was just like, hey, like, I'm calling in the troops on this one. I'm calling in a favor. Can you go to the AD where you've bought mom's engagement ring, you've bought your Rolexes, whatever, and can you see if you can maybe
Sure.
help me out? And I don't think he had made a purchase in there for 10 years, and walked in, and long story short, he said, I'm looking for either a sub or a GMT
Yeah.
for my kid. And the guy was like, gave him the spiel. My dad put his name on the waiting list, and he was like, just give me a minute. I need to do something in the back. And he came out with a green box, and my dad's like, what's this?
Wow.
And the guy's like, open it. And it was, and it was that watch. So that watch, he actually split it with me. He
It's
said,
so crazy
I'll pay for half of it.
That's amazing.
It's first of all, it's an amazing story.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy that when that green box comes out,
Yeah.
how 80s the chest goes up a little bit. It's like, you open it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And they were hyped to do,
Of course.
to do something, fun and nice, and for somebody who was like, not trying to flip it or do, I'll never sell these two watches ever, because basically they're connected to my parents.
Yeah.
For like no amount of money. I don't care.
Well, I think it's a beautiful thing too, right? Is that it's like, this is like a family jeweler,
Yeah,
right? Your dad has this amazing history with them, getting your mom's engagement ring, and
for sure.
yeah. And then it's like, now you get to sort of like, not only are you to some degree inheriting pieces from your dad, but you're inheriting this amazing relationship
Definitely.
that has proven to be fruitful for you
Yeah.
in terms of your journey in collecting. Did you have something you want to say?
No, well, I was gonna piggyback on what you were saying, because we had experience that before, as far as like, you know, a Rolex being presented, and for the person that is presenting it, you know, everyone is celebrating it, everyone is championing it, because also for the guys that are able to offer this watch, is big for us too, or at least, you know, because it isn't offered to everybody.
That's true.
So you get the champion, you get to hold it as a trophy and go ahead and say, we were actually
And you're
the best
part of it.
client. Yes.
Like,
And I think that's a good
you made it happen.
thing too. It is a we situation.
It's always
right?
we.
when you actually get to experience that.
Yeah.
It's
It's almost like AD relationships mean something.
they do.
But the thing is this, you know, especially for myself and Ben being in the industry, we know how it goes. And for the guys that do walk into the store and they inquire on these watches, you know, they believe that, you know, maybe we're hoarding watches in the back, or it's this kind of thing. And it's like, no, it isn't that.
Yeah.
Like that's not really what's happening. What it is the power of a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, we want to be able to offer these. Of course, we want to celebrate with you. But at the end of the day, you know, it all comes
You need a
from
reason.
You need a reason. You need a story.
Doesn't come down to money all the time.
Yes, it has to be powerful.
Yeah, and I saw that same thing happen, not to steal your thunder on my dad's sub, but it's such a great segue because I still don't have my No Date sub. And I want it so bad.
Why'd you look at me like that?
He gave us the look.
I
He
really
gave us
want
the
to
look.
know dates.
Rashawn, I'm just saying, bro. Like, it's not even like that. We're friends.
We're friends.
Like, I'm serious.
He's got your back. He made that very clear at the beginning.
Well, I don't like the Rashawn attacks that I've been seeing.
They've been warranted.
I really
He's
don't.
deserved them.
You know. So anyway, with that
Come
said, I
on,
still
man.
don't have-
Turquoise
No.
OP41 watch of the year. You deserve that.
He said in an episode, and it's funny, I was watching this recently at home. He's the protagonist. We antagonize him.
Yes.
And that's the makeup of our show.
Sean's the sweetheart on the
He
show,
is,
man.
but he can definitely hold his own.
He just speaks his heart. I'm saying.
I always do.
Sure.
I always do.
Yeah.
I always do.
OP turquoise
watch of the year.
Sure. Okay. 64% of people don't agree with
Not
you.
in this universe.
Oh my god.
But what I was gonna say, and I'm
Sure.
sorry was that I still don't have this No Date. I wanted it so bad. I inquired at this AD. You know, we'll see, and I get it. I'll wait, whatever. And so I told my dad, hey, can you roll by the shop just to do a check-in, see what's up, see what the deal is. And he was so excited and was like, as if he was going to get the watch, was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm going to talk to them. I'll make sure this and that. And I just had this like epiphany where I'm like, yo, like I have all these watches. Like I'm going to give him this sub
Yeah.
if I get it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, he is so excited. He's getting nothing out. He's doing me a favor.
Yeah.
And so I called the AD and I was like, listen, my dad's coming in. He's going to check on this watch for me. Even if you do have it, like play along, like, but I'm going to give him this watch.
Yeah.
And and all of a sudden, from like me waiting for like months and months and months and months, he goes, I just got a shipment. I think there's one in there. I'll call you back in 5 minutes. And he calls me back and he's like, I have a No Date sub. Do you want it? I'm like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
And so my dad goes in. He's like, yeah, we've got it. And my dad calls me. He's like, dude, they've got the No Date. Like, I'm going to get it for like
Yeah.
all this stuff. And then I'm like, we'll go in tomorrow to pick it up, bring mom, this and that. And we did a FaceTime.
Yeah.
And he's talking, and the general manager's there. And my dad's name is Nick also. He goes, Nick, put it on your wrist so your kid can see what it would look like on his wrist.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that's a great idea. And he's like, man, you might not even get this.
Yeah.
He's like, I might take this. And I go, good, because it's yours.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's like, he starts crying
It's awesome.
in the store. It was just like, you know, and so like, for me, that's what Rolex means to me, is like making my dad cry because he's so happy. He had just retired.
Yeah.
We had them engrave the case back.
Nice,
Like
man.
to dad
That's
with a
awesome.
date. Like, and my mom and I split that as like
Yeah.
a retirement gift for him. So it's like,
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
that's kind of what like Rolex mean. I kind of buy into that
I think we
makes me
just
feel good about
shot a
some of the-
Rolex ad
Yeah,
we
on the
definitely
show.
Yeah,
That's
Anyways,
incredible.
At Wrist Check Pod.
Well, because
send the-
it's like
send the
it's
check,
super
please.
full circle, right? Like, so they get you your first for your graduation, and
Yeah.
you know, what every parent hopes for their child is that they go on, you know, get education and, you know, become successful. And here you are sort of fulfilling their hopes and their dreams. And you turn around and you bless dad with a
Yeah, it felt
gift.
awesome.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
And every time he goes in there, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna cry again," you know, joking around with like the people at the store, just like,
Yeah.
"Crybaby Nick."
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they had to have felt really special too in that store,
And
right?
just
Like to
what
witness all
Rashawn
that. It's
said,
incredible.
They were like, "Yo, we were so happy to be a part of that. Like,
Absolutely.
that's why we do what we do. Because like you made us a part of like a story.
Yeah.
That's like part of your life. You know.
I think there's like no better feeling a salesperson can have when they have that kind of impact on a client. You know what I'm saying? Not only when they leave happy, but like when you do something that actually brings people together and you create a moment. I think
Yeah.
that's like the most that you can hope for.
And I still tell him, I'm like, "Yo, I want that No Date."
Yeah.
Every time I see him, I ask to put it on. I put it on.
We haven't forgotten, Dad.
I'm like, "Yo, I want that thing so bad."
That's awesome. So speaking of subs,
Yeah.
you have in this collection here, you do have a sub.
I do.
This one has a date.
Yeah.
It also happens to be one of the most coveted subs right now.
Yes.
I think there was one that recently went up for auction and sold for
95.
$95,000.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like,
I'm also curious.
it's
And it's
absurd.
discontinued, right? Yeah. And so in the hype of all this we've been talking about too, is you've been asking like, do you think they're going to bring it back? Because there's like a
Yeah.
rumor going around somehow they're going to do this in white gold, but you have the what's dubbed the Hulk,
Yes.
right? So this is the green insert, green dial, date Submariner.
And I got that in July of, I guess, 2019. And then I think it was announced that it was discontinued in September. So I like just snuck in.
So was this originally on your hit list? Like, was this a piece that you were like,
It was, I kept kind of going back and forth with it because I had a buddy who had the Kermit, who had the black dial with the flat 4 on the bezel.
I actually like the Kermit.
And I like it.
Why do people not like the Kermit?
I like it too. I just didn't think it was for me.
Sure.
And then I thought, add even more green to it. I really don't think that's for me.
So what changed your mind?
And oddly enough, one other thing that I'll tell you is the only watch that the only Rolex or Tudor watch in this collection that I've purchased and actually put on my wrist and been like, cool, I'll take it, is this Explorer 1 and the Tudor Blackbay.
Okay.
I had never seen in person, touched, felt, or wore the Explorer 2, the GMT, the Hulk, or the Day-Date for that matter. But I was, but that was a gift. But like, I just thought, it looks cool. I really like it. I've always wanted a sub. I couldn't get one. I'm being offered one. I kind of understood the lay of the land here in terms of like, probably not a good idea to tell somebody no if they want to sell you something that,
Everybody
1,000 other
wants.
people want.
Sure.
And worst case scenario, if I, for some reason, don't like it,
You can find a way to.
I have plenty of ways
quickly
to
dispose of it.
Exactly.
Sure.
And I wear that the least out of all of them.
The green one?
I wear that the least. And it has nothing to do with like, it solely has to do with looks. And I'm not like, it's not a blingy watch
No.
at all, but I'm also not a flashy person. I just feel like
It's a lot of green.
it's a lot of green.
Sure.
So like it gets a lot of wrist time and I do a good job of like moving stuff around.
Sure.
But it definitely gets the least amount
Of wear out of the crew.
of wear out of the crew.
Cool.
But what's great is when I do put it on, I feel special. I feel good.
As you
I feel
should.
like
So wait, but
This is
and so
fun.
what does that occasion look like? What's the occasion where you're like, today's a green sub day?
so the last 2 times I wore it was going on a date with my girlfriend.
Awesome.
We went to go get dinner and go get drinks and dance and go have a good time. And then I also brought it to Vegas. Like, come on.
Of course. Of course.
Those were like the two most recent times where it was like, even if I lost all my monmoney at the blackjack table, I still had that watch on my wrist and be like, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
But I do love that watch. I love it a lot. I don't, we were kind of talking about this earlier where it's like, I was telling my girlfriend where it's like, oh, like, no, I'm buying it for X, but like other people are paying Y for it. Like, this is actually like, I'm actually not a crazy person. Yeah. And then her feedback to me is always like, yeah, but you're not going to sell it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, I know you're right. And so it's like, I definitely don't wear it because I don't want to like, all my watches are scratched up and whatever. That one has kind of a big scratch on it for my dog. So does the GMT. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel special when I put that watch on, particularly out of all of them.
That's awesome.
For like Christmas, for like stuff where I like really, feeling emotional. Yeah. I put on the date just that my parents gave me. They were here for Christmas. I wore that with them.
Nice.
Or the GMT when I'm with them because they,
I think it's cool that like a dive watch has now become a watch that can be like your date night.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
It's funny.
And it's like, that's where the industry is and just watch culture in general. And I think that's a really cool thing. Moving to the left.
Yeah.
We've got this really cool Timex.
Yeah.
Right. And just in keeping things interesting.
Yeah.
For someone who has as many Rolexes as you do and some heavy hitters, to have a Timex in your collection, I think says a lot about who you are as a collector, and someone who cares about timepieces. This one I like a lot. You got this at a very specific location that's near and dear to all of us for a variety of reasons. This happens to be actually, so the place that you got this is where I met Rashawn.
Yes.
Crazy.
So that's how much like this means to us. This is a really good piece.
Do you have one? No,
I don't. I have a Timex watch from
liquor store.
From liquor store.
Yes.
Not this one.
Got you. But you have a little memento from that.
Oh, absolutely.
From that time.
Yeah, this one I love. It looks like an old school like Hamilton field watch.
100%. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about this.
So much. Like, I got it's dated on the case back. I think 2008.
2008.
Yeah, I had like a childhood friend who from the Bay Area who was been living in New York forever, and me and another friend every year would come visit him. Mm-hmm. And that's when like Freeman's, the barbershop, the restaurant, the clothing store was like really popping.
Oh, everything was popping.
When Stephen Allen was like very sick.
It was the heyday.
And they were still stocking all of the other brands other than just their own Stephen Allen brand.
Right.
Sort of this idea of American heritage kind of workwear stuff was like really starting to do its thing.
It was a special time for menswear in New York.
It was cool. It was I was like, I loved it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yo, it's J.Crew, but it's like, they're also selling other brands that are like sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had a lot of sick brands, third-party partnerships.
Collaborations.
Yeah.
And so I went into that store over in Tribeca and had no intentions of buying a watch. I don't even know if I knew that it existed. But was like, damn, this thing is so sick.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Maybe that's I don't think it's smaller than a 36, right? It's not a 34.
It's not a 34. This is about a 36. It looks like a 30. It looks and feels like a 36.
Is that the original strap it came on?
No, I can't even remember what strap it came on.
Yeah, because it's on a rubber strap.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Timex on a rubber strap.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, no.
I had it on the gray and black striped NATO for a long time, and then I took that watch with me to Italy when I moved in 2018, and I went to the watch repair in Grand Central Station.
Okay.
Oh, I remember that place.
Yes.
Which I think it's like Grand Central Watch Repair or something.
Mm-hmm.
They're Grand Central Watch Repair now. I actually just sent them something recently.
And they're kind of like iconic for in their own little way. It's not like I would take like...
They also sell watches. They sell like pre-owned watches.
100%.
Yeah.
And I just took it there and I was like, yo, I think I want something rubber. And I came out with that.
Sure.
And I really dig that style of strap and think that something like that would actually look very sick on the Blackbay GMT.
Oh, like a sort of like a black tropical strap.
Like basically that exact strap, but 22 millimeter.
I could definitely see that.
I think that could look
So
pretty
Nick,
dope.
I want to ask, where were you in your watch collecting when you got this Timex here? Because you said back in 2002 you got the Date Just.
Yep.
So what was going on between 2002 and 2008? Were you interested in watches, or it just kind of snapped in 2008 is when you kind of started your collection?
Yeah, I think. Do you guys remember the watch brand, the Freestyle Shark? There were digital watches.
No.
And they had
No
like a little
way.
shark fin at the very top.
No.
They were like sold heavily in Hawaii.
Freestyle Shark.
Yeah.
Please Google that.
They're sick.
Let me see
They're
if I
sick,
can
dude.
find
I mean, not
those.
only does it have a great name,
Freestyle Shark, I like that.
but I got that watch when I was a very, very young kid. Like I was always like, I had sort of like the Oris dude. He was saying that he had, the CEO, he said that he had a Mickey Mouse watch growing up. And my grandmother gifted me one of those. And so I always liked watches, but I don't think it was until I really started regularly wearing the Date Just that I was like, oh, it feels good to like have something on your wrist. And it also was at a time where like there was no iPhone.
Yes.
So like, I mean, you could check your little like Verizon Sidekick, your flip phone, whatever, but like it wasn't like it was today. So a watch still kind of served a decent purpose.
Yes.
But yeah, that was it, man.
I don't remember these.
No,
Shark clip.
That's great.
It says shark clip on the
it was
strap.
it was basically that. It was basically that case, that
I
everything.
think that crazy colorway, I may have seen that. Maybe.
I've never heard of this.
I mean, those watches were big when like Massimo, Stussy, Side Out, like
Okay.
all these like LA-based beach volleyball, surf skate.
But it kind of has that Iron Man. Remember the Iron Man watches?
Totally.
Those
has
are
that
Timexes.
The Iron Man Timexes.
I had an Iron Man. I had one of those with the two little square buttons.
You were
at the
running
bottom.
Yes.
marathons?
I think, you know what's so funny? To be completely honest, I think outside of the GShock, I think everybody had an Iron Man.
Everybody had a Timex.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the GShock that you were wearing a couple episodes back, like that classic, I don't know the reference number, but it's just that classic. Like,
Yes,
come on,
yes.
that's a GShock.
That's what we were all rocking in high school.
6900.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
weren't cool if you didn't have one of those. in
I
high
had
school.
one of those in high school.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
you had
all like royal blue with yellow light button in the center,
Yes.
yellow pushers
Yeah.
on each side.
Yeah, you had
And
to.
that thing was like I was probably the same height and weight when I was 17 that I'm right now. But like that thing was like, I could have like
Massive.
landed a plane with that thing on my wrist.
Exactly.
But like, which is also funny because I think we're all still in the same thing of like, yo, I'm not diving anywhere. I'm not flying a plane.
Yes.
I'm no longer a punk rock kid. I'm not spelunking in caves and I don't wear a suit to work, but like I've got all my bases covered.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about your GMTs and even the Explorer, because there's a GMT complication, is that
100%.
you can track your time zone in Italy.
And that is really the function that I love because I still have a lot of friends there. I still talk with people there regularly and I don't want to be hitting them on WhatsApp at like 5 a.m.
Sure.
Yeah.
One of my friends just had a brand new baby. And so like, I'm sure if she gets some oddball text from me and that baby starts crying,
Yeah.
it's like, dude,
What's the problem?
You kidding?
Block and delete.
Yeah, you're on the block
Yeah,
list.
you're on
Yeah.
the block for sure.
So going right into it, since you mentioned it,
Yeah.
we've got an Explorer 2
yes.
right here, black dial. One of my favorite watches. I think one of the best designs of a watch in Rolex's catalog. Because I love tool watches. It screams tool watch to me. This
Definitely
watch has
does.
always felt perfect to me. It just feels like the perfect tool watch. How did you get this? Was this on your hit list? What's the story with this piece
The
here?
white dial was on my hit list.
The white dial, the polar dial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was also had some reservations based on it being 42 millimeter. and not being able to try it on. This was pre-exhibition models. And so, you know, I just knew that I did like the GMT function. Out of any of the functions of the watches that I have, I absolutely use that, which is why I have 3 of them. And so the AD called and was like, you know, we know you wanted the white dial, but we've got a black dial. And it kind of fell into that same thing of like, probably shouldn't say no to this. And I did want it. I just wanted it in the white dial. I slept with that on my wrist for probably a month and a half. Wow. Like stupid.
Yeah.
Like I love that thing, man.
I mean, even the
I wear it so
it's
much.
like
So
I get one in the white dial, but the black one's dope.
The black dial more than the white now? What do you think? How do you feel about it?
I mean, it's great.
There's something even with like the black dial Daytona that makes it feel a bit more badass.
I was gonna say,
You know what I
Rolex definitely does a really good black
I prefer.
dial. They probably do the best black dial.
Y'all know how I feel about Daytonas. I think the black on black is better than the black and white. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Hands
100%.
down. Hands down.
100%.
Also because the subdials.
The subdials are silver.
Exactly. It'd be
Yes.
one thing if they were black, right? Is that what they were before?
Some Daytonas, not purposely, but some vintage reference Daytonas, like if you have a Patrizzi dial that's been exposed to enough sunlight, they usually are supposed to turn brown. They'll get black.
Gotcha.
And the sub dials, you just can't even read them. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
And that's actually pretty cool, but I mean, you can't really use your watch at that point.
Yeah.
I think I just wanted that white because everything was minus the date, just everything was black or dark.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was looking for just something to switch it up. But I go for that watch like, it's weird. I go for that and the Blackbay like all the time.
I feel like Rolex marketing like subconsciously has something to do with that because it would do it for me too. The watch is called an Explorer. Yeah, I want to wear it everywhere.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's been on Everest. Yes, I want to take that everywhere.
Yeah.
I also don't have a Rolex, again, and maybe minus the date just that doesn't have a ceramic or
That's
colored
why I
bezel.
love this one so
Insane.
much too, the steel bezel.
Still bezel.
I
It just screams fuck it up and who cares.
tool watch.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like the exact reason why I went for the Zodiac Seawolf. It's like, you know,
But you got the cream,
I got the cream down the Seawolf.
which I like.
I love it. I mean, it's the closest thing I have to an Explorer 2 right now, minus the GMT complication.
And your bezel rotates, right?
It does,
It's by no unidirectional.
It's unidirectional. Yeah. I can't wait to use that thing this summer. Getting right to it before we get to, so we've almost covered all of our bases,
yeah.
but the Tudor GMT.
Yeah.
So this one, you know, I love this watch. And me and you have been geeking out on Tudor for the last several months. I think maybe right before you acquired this piece.
Yeah.
I think the story and how you got this piece, along with the Explorer, because they're related, is great. So let's you want to get into that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
How this started?
Well, I was just like, you know, reading on the forums and just whatever else that this Tudor Rolex boutique was opening up.
In New York, this is the meatpacking.
Meatpacking, and I wanted to just go check it out and like, you know, shout out to my dad for being the second most impulsive person in the world, minus me. I mean, like, yeah, I can do some like, you know, my girlfriend's like, you're, where are you? I'm like, I'm getting tattooed. Yeah. Really? I mean, like,
I've been there before.
yeah, exactly. I know you and I can share that.
Yes.
Or it'll just be like snowing and I'll be like, I don't want to sit at home anymore. Like, I should probably go get a tattoo. And you're like, why?
Yep.
Like, what are you doing? And so I just wanted to go, check the shop out. It was getting close to when I was going to go back to Italy. I didn't really want to take the Explorer 2 with me because I thought it was just a little too much, even though it's insured.
Sure.
And I was wanting something on a NATO. Mm-hmm. And
did you know that you were looking for this when you walked in?
no.
Right.
No. And I also, the only stuff really that I've read is like, cool, yeah, we like it. It's a great watch, but also the date wheel sucks. And it gets stuck.
They fixed that problem though.
And yeah. And so, you know, it wasn't really on my hit list. I've been looking at the titanium left-hand Pelagos.
Right. Yeah.
Because you are a lefty, correct?
Exactly. I wear my watch on my right hand. So it felt apropos. And I just kind of like straight up fell in love with that watch. I was like, it was the only thing that had that matte dial, an aluminum insert. It was the closest thing that felt like a vintage GMT without being vintage and not costing, $20K.
Sure. And it's something you could wear. You don't have to baby it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not insured. I don't really like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I really do love it. I had to get used to the thickness.
You get used to that quick though on these.
Yeah. It took a couple days, but I had no interest in parlaying that into anything. I just wanted it. Okay, that was going to be my travel watch to Italy. And the woman asked if I was interested in anything else.
And what were you wearing in the shop at the time?
I had on the Batman.
You were wearing a Batman when you walked into the shop.
And they had just opened. So like,
I think they were just open for like not even 2 weeks, right? It was like a week.
Yeah, it was pretty soon. So, there were all these people in there and I was, just being me. And so I told her, hey, a No Date Sub, an Explorer 1, whatever. And what they did on the Blackbay GMT is they added double the amount of clicks. So it's actually 48 clicks instead of 24. I believe it's 48.
Yeah, it's 2 clicks.
So I was trying to track a third time zone and it kept giving me the wrong time. And like, so I went back into the store and I was just like, hey, and I talked to the same person and she was kind of stumped on it. When I told her that the GMT, the Rolex had 24, she was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's a 24 hour,
Yeah.
And she was like, she had to ask somebody else. And she was like, so what else was on what were you saying again? I was like, Explorer 1, this. She's like, you have a minute? I think something might have come in. Okay.
Love it when they say
and
that.
then she came out, that's when she came out with this. And
so when you first walked in before you bought the GMT from Tudor, did you go in with any expectations? Like, did you think you were going to buy something before you walked in? No,
I just wanted to go see it. But like, that is my problem when I say like, I'm just going to stop into like
Check
Ralph.
it out.
I'm just like, I'm right by there. Like, I'm just going to like stop in and it's like, oh, cool. Like, a new outfit.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
Exactly.
And like, I just, I'm getting better with my self-control, but like, it could be a lot worse. I could be like,
This is a very good habit.
Yeah, I could be like, I need more cocaine. No, more cocaine. Like, no, seriously, more.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
and that's actually what my dad says when I show him that. He's like, you could be doing a lot of drugs or whatever. And I'm like, I'm like, also very true.
Doubling your money.
So,
Yes.
Money pot.
Yeah.
So you go and you get the GMT, you go back. And that's one of the things I love about this story is you go back just with questions and she just so happens to say, hey, we have something else you want.
Yeah. And, I also
comes out with the Explorer 1.
Yeah. And also made it clear to her, like, I buy what I like.
Sure.
Because they had the
Cameron?
They had the Chronos there. And also with the Cameron, I was just like, man, it's just too big.
The Cameron, the deep sea
we were playing around with one.
Yeah, that thing is huge.
I'm grateful for that opportunity. But I just had to be like legit with it.
Yeah, but I remember I kept telling you, I was like, do not buy it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
I just had to be legit about it because it was like, yo, this thing is a big boy watch.
Yeah,
it's huge.
It was a big boy watch.
I think our homie Valenti has one.
Yeah.
Tony?
Yeah, Tony has one. Yeah, you met Tony.
Does he?
Yeah, he has not the Cameron though. I think he's just got.
No, he's just got a black. He's got a Sea Dweller black.
But still that's still a big watch too.
Black that.
Yeah. And so they had the Chronos there when I was there. They had the Panda. They had the stuff that was like, oh, and so I think she saw like, oh, you could have gotten any of this stuff and just flexed on somebody, flipped it, and I'm like buying something that's had date wheel issues. And, but that's because like I was like, yo, this one speaks to me, so that's why I'm going to buy it.
You know what's so funny too with your story, Nick? Because one of my questions, what I was going to ask, because for the pieces that we do have on the table, most of these were acquired before COVID.
Yeah.
But we do know, of course, like you were saying back in 2018, you had some issue acquiring Rolex. And of course, we knew what the demand was back then, kind of stemmed from about 2017, 2018, and moved on. And it wasn't until new watch collectors coming into 2020, not understanding that you guys missed 2 years of watch collecting. When you come in and you see that boutiques are empty, you're confused.
Yeah.
But the demand has been there.
It's an excellent point.
2 years prior. The sad part is that because we missed 2 years, you're 4 years late.
Yeah. It's actually a really good point.
But, to kind of get to the meat and potatoes, you don't have anything that was kind of like brought in the hype, right? Which,
So you do agree that it's a hype?
No. Well,
You just said it.
No. I'm going to go ahead and say, this is what I'm going to say. The hype, right? I think niggas a true watch collector because of his story.
Because he only buys what he
100%.
likes.
But no, what I'm saying, his story, the story that he told about his dad, the story about how he acquired his Rolexes, this is bigger than hype.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
It's something that we can't fathom to even speak about. And Perri, we spoke about it before. On one of the episodes when I was explaining Rolex, you said you brought up Phil Knight. And like the idea of even like a Nike is unfathomable. You just can't explain it. Rolex is that. And for a grown man to break down in tears to receive a watch.
I respect it.
Okay.
Yeah, I respect it.
See, look, now it's time
Well, hold on. My one counterpoint to that is, imagine all the people who are trying to be like Nick's dad. Imagine all the 30-year-olds who just had a newborn baby, who are newlyweds,
Right.
and now they want to start doing the same thing someone like Nick's dad did.
Sure.
Now it's hard as hell for them to get into it.
Totally.
Yeah.
But that's just.
And they also, sorry to cut you off, but they also don't know any better. They all that they know is hype because they're starting now.
Totally. But that's why this is called luxury.
Rainbow effect.
There's a luxury. Yes, we need like a rainbow. Yes, luxury. So you have to remember.
You gotta edit that in.
Because yes, please.
That's
Now,
great.
at the end of the day, like, to be honest, the Rolex does the same thing as that Timex.
Yep.
Sure.
And it tells time. The only difference is luxury. So at the end of the day, if you cannot acquire this luxury, I'm sorry. I mean, what can I do past that?
That's how I feel about homage watches, but we'll get into that.
Oh,
different
God.
time.
Well,
So-
also it's funny you say that because I was feeling the same way where I'm like, even when I talk to an AD and I'm like, I feel ridiculous inside where I'm like, I was maybe thinking like a Daytona, and I'm just like, it has such a connotation.
Yeah, you almost gotta whisper it.
Like I'm some
Yeah.
jabron.
Yeah.
Who would even think to say, even to my own AD who I've purchased these watches from, like,
Yeah.
I almost feel like some jabron ass dude being like, yo, can I get it? And like, or coming on your guys' show and being like, yo, here's all these hyped out watches. And it's just like, it's a shame what's kind of happened because there could be all sort of connotations if somebody were to just see a picture of this.
Sure.
They'd be like, oh,
But,
kind of
you know,
cue the
they're in-
eye roll. And everyone's got their story. But
Yeah.
man, that market has really kind of turned into some weird little.
But that's why I think it's
Yes.
guys like
You know
you
what I mean?
are really important. And with
sure.
this feature that we wanted to do and present to our audience,
Yeah.
it puts a new lens on it because, we give a lot of flack to Rolex on here. But I think and I hope that it's understood that even though we do, the three of us love
we all
Rolex.
want Rolex.
We all
Right.
love Rolex.
There's
So
no
this is
denying
not. It's more so we are we're critiquing the culture, and part of the
Absolutely.
reason I wanted to bring you here is because you are what we hope to see and aspire to in terms of collecting watches, but also collecting from Rolex, and that is getting what you want,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Or getting something that you are passionate about, something that moves you, that you wear, but also like the stories that you have tied to these pieces, I think
Yeah, for sure.
are incredible. And to elaborate on one of those stories, if we can continue down this road with the new Tudor boutique, me and you were you called me almost immediately after you got this watch. And then I heard from you again after you got this one.
Yeah.
And
It was a 2-week fucking.
It was good.
Damn, did I really just do this?
I love this dude, man. And then I was like, man, how's the Tudor Blackbay? And I was geeking out over it. And I started talking about the bronze.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you think they have it? He's like, I don't know. I'll make a connection. And so my dude here shoots an email, CCs me on the email, says, hey, really good friend of mine, looking for the bronze Tudor Blackbay 58, which at this particular time was like the hottest watch.
Yeah,
but this is your only chance of getting it because it's only available at a Tudor boutique.
Yes.
And this one just so happened to open up, the first one in the continental US.
Yes.
And the woman you were dealing with, I remember she replied, out of town, talk to this guy, and let's see where it goes. And so he follows up with me. And I remember you saying to me, you're like, man, I hope they don't waste your time.
Yeah, because he told you, come. He gave you the song, come in, talk, learn,
It was like one of those.
Yeah.
And so I think I texted you the day before. I was like, yeah, I'm going tomorrow. And I went in early, like right after they opened. And I meet the dude, I sit down, and he's just like, wait here. Got no choice, sure. And then he brings out the watch and presents it to me and says, we had to pull some strings, which to me read like, you better buy this watch.
Yes, it does.
That was
exactly what it means.
That was cold.
That's exactly what it means.
How I took it. And so I looked at it and I was fully prepared to buy it. A, because I wanted it. B, because my friend looked out for me and made the connection.
Yes.
And this is someone who bought 2 watches in 2 weeks from this place. So I knew the chances were pretty good of me getting it.
Yes.
Right? Like he had made them really happy. He was really happy with the service. And in them wanting to maintain a client relationship, because I understand how it goes, it's like, let's get this guy, whoever he is, friend of his, what he wants. And they made it happen. And that's how I got this watch. So
yeah, man.
props to you.
I was hyped for you.
I wasn't even.
I was in Italy when you got it.
I wore this totally just off feeling. I wasn't even thinking about this.
Word.
So that's kind of funny. But that's how I got the Tudor Blackbay bronze. Kudos to my man Nick Milo right here.
Absolutely.
Power of relationships.
Power of relationships.
I love doing that stuff.
Yeah.
I just like making other people happy.
And I had a really great experience at that dealer. This was the new. I guess they're owned and operated by Tourneau, and I can honestly say they had no Rolexes in the case. They were running out of Tudors. This place was hot. They got hit up in the first 3 weeks, and I think I was about 3.5 weeks after they opened when I arrived. But they made it happen, and so I am eternally grateful. We've got one watch left on the table. This happens to be one of my favorite pieces. It's a GShock. I think you got this around the same time, if I remember correctly. This was like you're going to Italy shopping spree.
Yeah, this was like, oh, I need the perfect watch to go to Italy for a month.
And this thing,
was like,
yeah,
it came with me.
This thing is dope. And this is one, I know you like this one a lot too.
I love that watch. And it's got the UTC,
the time zone on top.
Exactly where it pings the tower.
It's a DW
GWM.
Okay.
Something. I'm so bad with references.
Especially with the GShock
GWM5610.
Yeah.
DW?
GW.
So it has the solar charger around the case, dual time zone. Even though it's digital.
And the calendar.
Exactly. And the date. But even though it's digital, it will still ping. There's like a tower in Colorado, another one in the central, and one on the East Coast, and then a couple others, one in Japan, one in like Europe or Russia. But every night it will ping those towers to
give you the time zone, correct time zone.
Exactly, to catch, so you're not losing like the plus or minus 2 seconds a day on a Rolex.
It's awesome.
It makes it, even though it's digital, so you're not losing any seconds. So every 24 hours it pings it.
So you brought 3 watches to Italy with you.
Yeah, I brought that. I brought the Tudor and I brought the Explorer 1.
Nice. So watch guys do.
And and honestly hardly wore that,
Really?
unfortunately.
But I've seen you wear this one.
Yeah, I know. I wear that. I wear that a lot.
Yeah.
I like that watch. It's also, it's also funny when you have watches and like watches. It's like I'll go a whole day wearing the Explorer 1, and then I go walk the dog, and I'm like, nah, the G-Shock feels like a dog watching. You know what I mean? And I'll like slap that on with like a with like a North Face puffer or something, and it'll be like, this feels right to me.
No, totally.
Yeah, this is a cool one. I love this.
And it's classic. Like that's, outside of the model that you guys were talking about a couple episodes back, like that one's kind of equally in that classic range.
Yes. Yeah.
But I guess maybe
Classic
from the 80s. I guess that's like maybe an 80s.
Yeah.
This
piece.
one, yeah.
Like the original, I think they call it the square or the brick.
But the dial on this is fun too,
Yeah.
with all the colors on it.
And honestly, they make some kind of interesting mods for that too, to where you can put different bands on. Like, there's like that whole Seiko secondary market where they do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I still really want, actually on that Italy trip, I found a king turtle there.
In Italy?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that had the date wheel in Italian.
Oh, that's fine.
Did you pick it up?
No. And
We were talking about this because you
What?
called him.
Wait, why
called
not?
him. Oh.
Why not?
I don't know. It was just probably for the same
just
reason
bought
that
3 watches.
for the same reason that Perri was like, "Yo, you just copped 3 fucking watches,
Yeah.
like in like 3 weeks." Or
Yeah, but that's the watch.
that was the
you
one
buy.
out of all of them.
We
that I
talked
bought.
about this because
Yes,
you
I
were
know.
thinking about this when you got back, and then you called them, right?
Bro, I was thinking about it just all the time.
See,
And
so you
So
bought
what happened
watches.
when you called them? I mean, obviously you don't have it, but what?
they were like, "Yeah, we don't ship it. We can't. We
You
won't-
can't ship international?
Yeah, we won't ship it to you international."
Well, the thing is, you bought 3 watches to take to Italy. You needed to buy some to bring home.
Yes.
I know.
That's the one to bring
Of
home.
They
You
had the
should've talked
green.
to
They had
Ben
the green
before
one.
you left. That's
And they had
Yeah.
the black. The only thing I'll say was it was the previous model, so they updated both of those to have sapphire crystals, and these ones just had the plastic ones. But like,
I mean, that's fine.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
care either. I'm just saying, like,
At least if you scratch it, you could buff it.
yeah,
if
they
it's-
were
if
they
it's a
were gonna like
plastic
knock
crystal.
like 300, 400 euros off it for me. I
You probably could have gotten the tax back too.
fucked up so bad.
Oh man.
I was like, yeah,
It's all good. I'm sure it'll make its way back to you.
I'll be back in Rome at some point. I'm sure.
So in wrapping this up, first, I just want to thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
today.
Thank
this
you
is
guys.
fun.
I watch every week.
Rashawn had a question he wanted to ask you in the closeout. I don't know. You want to get into it?
Yeah.
It's just, you're...
I mean, well, the biggest question, because you do have so many grail pieces, like you said, I mean, there are people that aspire to even see these in photos, not even, physically. What's your definition of a watch collector?
That's a good question. Yeah.
We're gonna edit in Jeopardy music.
What is somebody who has a problem not buying watches?
Sure.
I mean, I think like I collect so many things. And I think from my definition of like collecting something is like, it should make you feel some kind of way,
Yeah. It's like an emotional response.
Yeah,
to it.
which is what caused you to like it in the first place, what caused you to buy it, what caused you to be like, yo, I know this watch just sold for $90,000, but like, I'm not really interested in selling it. I bought it for $8. Like, that's kind of, but I think the same thing could be said for somebody who's collecting fine art and is just savvy with it and is just like, I don't really have any emotional connection to any of this. And if I can triple my money, have it,
Sure.
So, I mean, for me, I like dressing because it makes, I wear something every day because I want to feel a different way, or I wake up and I feel some kind of way. So I'm going to grab this versus that. Or I'm going to put on like some fucked up chinos instead of like a pair of jeans.
So for you, it's more of an emotional response to just how you feel generally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would
day
say,
out.
you're probably a collector of something if you have like maybe 3 or 4 of something.
Sure.
or if maybe, you know, that you have some sort of plan for it. You know, maybe some guy just really loves subs or diving watches. So they've got the King Turtles, they've got the Sea Dweller,
We
the
know some of those
Submariner,
guys.
you know, so like when you, and then, you know, as you kind of start to go down more that rabbit hole, you maybe hone in on like, you know, Ben and I love tattoos. Like, well, is it like Japanese or is it American traditional? Is it photorealistic? Is their color just black and gray?
Yep.
Like, what are you about? But you don't really know what you're about until you get like a decent amount of tattoos. And then you're like, oh, word. Like,
Yeah, I like this more than the other.
Exactly.
And I think in general, I don't think anyone can consider themselves a collector of anything unless there's a passion behind it.
For sure.
You need to have a passion for the object or the thing that you're collecting.
Yeah.
Like, to go back on tattoos, like, tattoos hurt very much.
Yeah.
You have to like them to get them.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, definitely.
Collecting Rolexes can hurt.
Yup.
Yeah.
Definitely break some hearts trying to collect
For
a
sure.
Rolex.
On that note, I just want to say thank you for joining us
Thank
again,
you,
my
guys.
man. We appreciate you.
you,
This
guys.
was
Thank you,
fun.
sir.
And, you know, thank you guys out there for watching. Don't forget to follow us, like, share, subscribe. You can find us on Instagram at Wrist Check Pod, YouTube, Wrist Check Podcast, same with Spotify and Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. And we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Deuces.
Peace.